it would go a long way in maintaining sanctity of contracts.
Thank you. And Nayan, your lead-in was excellent from my perspective. So from the International Cotton Association's focus, we are working as closely with our partners all over the world to maintain that understanding of what are the bylaws and rules, what are the commonalities that underpin all cotton contracts, and how can they be improved, and how can we develop our understanding one with another such that we can be confident that we have the same picture about a cotton contract. And for that reason, we are beginning a program of outreach and training, which last year reached Pakistan and China and Pakistan in 2018, Bangladesh we hope in 2019, and Brazil, and will be rolled out, and I very much hope in partnership with the Cotton Association of India we can do the same here as well. Because the key is knowing each other, knowing the needs and requirements of partner associations, such that your members can have a common picture one with another, even of members of other associations worldwide.
Mr. Bill, I would request you to do a training course in India as soon as possible. You see, there are maximum number of entrepreneurs or exporters in India from rest of the world, and most of them are having their own business. They are not professional organizations. There are 3 associations over here. One is in the south, one is in the north, and one is in... So you could do it jointly or separately, but there is a dire need to educate all upcoming exporters and importers. You give them printed booklets in Hindi and English, if possible. English is anyways available on the website, but I think you need to give in literature to all the importers, exporters in this region, Bangladesh, India and Pakistan. The maximum number of people involved in this region. Secondly, sir, thank you. I wanted to add something more since we all are sitting. Just one line. We all deal in cotton, but there should be done something to promote cotton usage. We get ads of eating almonds, eating walnuts, drinking milk, but nothing for cotton. If you all could do something for that, it would be grateful. Thank you.
I want to say something. I don't know why Bill can say better than me why ICA did not make any awareness or training program in 2018. Because if I'm not wrong, when Kai was managing director in the ICA, we started that training and awareness program. I think we started in, if Kai is here, in 2012 we started that program. So I don't know why in 2018 it is not happened. So my request, please, as Mr. Mahesh said, please do awareness and that training program again in Bangladesh. And to all of you, I need to inform that we are the first cotton association that we published in Bengali language ICA rules and bylaws. Thank you.
I think the first thing that needs to be done is probably have unified or standard rules. At the moment, different countries have different rules. And if I am importing cotton from Egypt, or if I am importing cotton from somewhere else, from Africa or somewhere else, then CAI rules are a little bit different from ICA rules. If we could align all the rules together and make default a little bit more tough, then it will work. But the most important thing is for the victim of the default. If the victim of the default does not take the default lying down and he continues to take his case to the logical conclusion, then I think a lesson would be brought home among all that you cannot get away with a default. Just recent case, we got an award from CI arbitration and the party defaulted and they did not honor the contract. We have gone further. We have got their properties attached and the next step would be to get those properties sold and we will get our money. So it has taken some time, it has taken some effort, but if every victim did that, then I think it will create a good example and anybody who wants to default will think twice. That I think is my view.
To repeat myself, there has to be contract sanctity. There is need for an organized way of doing business, having contracts, and there has to be a mechanism to deal with disputes as and when they arise. And there is need to make any commitment serious. Like Mr. Saraf just said that anybody who gets into a contract should know that there are consequences of not being able to fulfill it. Here again, I would lay stress on the way these things are structured and the way business is done. In the sense, the contract should be a balanced contract. Associations in general are traders associations, so it should not be biased towards the seller. It should be balanced. That's one. And secondly, like I said, clarity and transparency at the time of doing the deal, trying to understand the customer's requirement and then offering him something that meets will be a big help in avoiding disputes.
I think I would come back to something that Mr. Ali and Mr. Agrawal touched on. From a merchant's point of view, it's incumbent on us to know who we're selling to, know their capabilities. And I think maybe in the last couple of years, because the market has been relatively more steady, some merchants have been a little bit more relaxed about forward sales to buyers who perhaps don't have the full understanding of the market and don't have the financial wherewithal to perform if the market goes against them slightly. And I think that may feed into, if we do, and hopefully we do not see a new wave of defaults, but if we do, I think that would probably be the primary reason. So we need to know our counterparties better and know their abilities to perform.
We have a follow-up question here, which is a final question for all of you gentlemen. There are many people in the audience, around the room, in the trade, who've actually questioned the relevance of trading rules, and from whichever association. And they say that the rules are not correct, or they're not all encompassing, they need to be changed. So what would happen if we took away the cotton associations of the world, we took away the trading rules, the arbitration systems? What would be the outcome?
I'd probably quit the business. Trading mechanisms, the way cotton is traded is changing, ever changing. I think associations should be mindful of that and should be dynamic and keep changing their rules and regulations to be up with the trading practices of the day. But yes, for sure, you need associations with rules to be able to trade safely and I guess sleep soundly as well. Thank
you. I think there are many people with more experience of what the market may look like without international trading rules. But what I would say is that the engagement of members in helping to shape those rules, which has been touched on, is really critical. The president of the ICA mentioned one of those changes that happened recently about value differences and the multiplier introduced only in the 2018 rules, which changes fundamentally the playing field, if you like, for buyers of cotton who have been shipped cotton which is of a different quality to that which we contracted. There were other issues that have come up from when we've been traveling around the world, for example, about the timing required to take samples and where those samples must be taken. So those rules have changed and evolved. And it is, I think, so important that the members of the associations continue to influence, continue to understand why the rules are as they are, and to seek the changes which better enable them to deliver that safe trading environment which we all aspire to.
Sir, I also agree. The rules should be evolving with the need of the times, and they provide us a direction. If we don't have any rules, there will be chaos, and we cannot have growth. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I will request International Cotton Association to make a good connectivity between all associations. And then we can understand about ICA rules and bylaws. That's all.
Well, the rules have to be there. We are living in a civilized society. If the rules are not there, there would be chaos, and the whole thing will go haywire. The whole system will go haywire. So obviously the rules have to be there. Now the second issue is the rules also have to be dynamic and flexible depending on the need of the time. As the laws change, as the patterns change, there may be a need for changing of rules. But we also need to see that the rules are absolutely fair, they look fair, and even the perception is fair. So I think if the fairness is maintained, then there should be no problem in anybody's business.
It's clear that we need associations, we need rules that are dynamic. A point here is we need a universal contract when we are trading on an exchange. But when we are talking about physical cotton to be delivered, do we really need a universal contract, or should it be modified to specific origins or specific cottons? I think it's a point that the associations need to look at.
I think if the ICA disappeared today, the CII disappeared today, all the associations disappeared today, cotton trade would still continue. Tomorrow, cotton would still be bought and sold, but the price would go up, probably considerably. My risk would increase considerably. For me, what associations bring us is a security and a stability to know that we can do business with a greater amount of certainty and know that the contracts will go through as they should, with comparatively less risk. And I think we can see further upstream in the yarn markets what happens without a strong association. It's a much more Wild West kind of environment.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think you've got an all-round view there from different parts of the trade on contract sanctity. We do have a few minutes left, so I'd like to open the floor to any questions, should you have any.
Hello everyone, and it's a pleasure to have ICA today with us. And since ICA has done a commendable job for the cotton industry, it would be really great if ICA can partner up with ITMF to make a contract, to design a contract for yarn also. Because we have noticed that a lot of defaults are happening in yarn business as well. And because of the yarn defaults, many times we have seen that buyer doesn't have any choice but to, they sometimes, kind of try to default on the cotton also, giving an excuse that they've been defaulted on the yarn. So is there any possibility if ICA and ITMF can jointly come together to make sure that, even yarn business can be I would say, it can also come into the loop, and we can make sure that the yarn contracts are also honored properly?
I think that's a really good question, and probably the most difficult question in the entire cotton world right now. But I'll let Bill have a go.
I'm looking for Dr. Christian Schindler, Director General of the ITMF, but he seems to have made himself scarce at the opportune moment. Absolutely, your question gets at the heart of a core problem. There is no easy answer to that. I am relatively new to this industry, and that's one I have written at the top of my notebook to take forward. And I meet with Dr. Schindler and with our friends in ITMF, and we will think on that. Thank you.
My name is Sanjay from Shri Sanjay Trading Company. Just now we were listening to you since last 15 minutes, and the discussion that is going on currently is that we all require a standardized contract. Like Sharad Kaka said, that there are different contracts of different associations. Like Sunil ji, my friend, said that it should not be a non-biased contract. What we feel is that since CAI and ICA have had a MOU done right now, why not CAI come up with a standard contract like ICA, which will help the members of our association to trade easily and more beneficially rather than anything else. This is my very important suggestion, that CAI come up with a standard format of a contract which will help everyone to trade.
Thank you, Sanjay bhai. The CI is in the process at the moment trying to make a standardized contract for both domestic and export trade. I'm sure shortly with the cooperation and inputs from everybody, we will have a standardized contract very soon.
Hi, I have a question for Dr. Mehndi Ali. You mentioned that when you're trading with Bangladesh, make sure that you trade with the right broker. Make sure that you know whom you're trading with. I want to know that as an association, is it possible for you to kind of actually publish a list of such brokers, because you know your industry very well, and that will be a huge help for everyone who's trading with Bangladesh. Thank you.
Sure, why not?